can hear us? All right.
Awesome. So we would like to share with you a story about when God made you. And we're going to tie this in to missions and how it relates to a call that maybe even God has put on your life. And so this one is called When God Made You by Matthew Paul Turner. And I'm going to get in your way there, Luke. You, when God made you, God made you all shiny and new. An incredible you, a you all your own, a you unlike anyone else ever known. An exclusive design, one God refined, you're perfectly crafted, one of a kind. 'Cause when God made you, somehow God knew that the world needed someone exactly like you. You. God thinks about you. God was thinking of you long before your debut. From the very beginning, amid history and time, you, little one, never left God's mind. God imagined your eyes, your head shape and size, and knew what you'd look like when you felt surprised. God pictured your nose and all your 10 toes. The sound of your voice? Well, God had that composed. The lines on your hand, your hair, every strand, God knew every detail like it was all planned. Out of billions of faces from cultures, all races, people God made from all different places. God knew your name. Your picture is framed, and God's family without you would not be the same. 'Cause when God made you, this much is true, the world got to meet who God already knew. You. When God sees you, God delights in what is and sees only what's true. That you, yes, you, in all of your glory, bring color and rhythm to God's story. So be you, fully you, a show-stopping review. Live your life in full color every time, every hue. Discover, explore, have faith, but love more, and learn and relearn all that God made you for. Use your talents and passions, those gifts that God fashioned. Think up ideas, then put them to action. 'Cause God loves you creating, your true self displaying, when light on the inside through art is portraying. When you make believe the stories conceived, the heroics, those tricks up your sleeve. When you dance alone, spinning like a cyclone, being whoever, whatever, in a world all your own. God smiles, and here's why. In the spark of your eye, a familiar reflection shines bright from inside. 'Cause when God made you and the world oohed and awed, in heaven they called you an image of God. You, when God dreams about you, God dreams about all that in you will be true. That you, God's you, will be hopeful and kind, a giver who lives with all heart, soul, and mind. A dreamer who dreams in big and small themes, one who keeps dreaming in journeys upstream. A mover, a shaker, a lover of nature. A builder of bridges, you the peacemaker. A you who views others as sisters and brothers and lives by 3 words: love one another. A confident you, strong and brave too. You being you is God's dream coming true. 'cause when God made you, all heaven was beaming. Over you, God was smiling and already dreaming. What a beautiful story and a beautiful way that reminds us that God made us in an intricately and beautiful way. And so we just wanted to let you know how important it is and what it means to live our lives with the calling that God has placed on them. Each one of us is made in a unique and special way and with gifting, and even at a young age. With that being said, at the age of 10, I was called into missions, and I had grown up hearing about missions. My grandparents were missionaries, and I just knew by 10 that that was what I was going to be doing. And through the years, God has equipped me and shaped me and given me skills to prepare us for going to our new home in Indonesia. And Jeremy also was called.
So I felt God call me to serve Him when I was 15 years old, and I was always excited to be a pastor and someday a missionary, and just to answer His call. And it's amazing to think that God knew me, and He knew you, and He knew you, and He knew everybody out there, even before we knew ourselves, that He knew how He was going to call us, how we would respond, and how we would do amazing things for Him, and we continue to. And that's the same for everybody that's listening today, that God knows them, and as they listen for God's calling, then they can choose to respond too. So Luke, how old are you?
9.
9 years old. And so in 1 year, less than a year, you'll be 10 years old. And that's how old your mom was when she felt God call her to be a missionary. And so you'll be 10 years old when we start becoming missionaries, or when we move to Indonesia, right? That is really cool. And
so God has called us to be servants overseas. And we want to share with you a little bit about what the place that we're going to will be like. And we refer to, with the Church of the Nazarene, we refer to it as global missions, and we have 6 large regions across the world, and we're in 162 countries, which is quite a few. And
so right now, we all live in the United States, and so we are in the USA and Canada region, but we are moving to the Asia Pacific region on the other side of the world.
And so when we so the Asia Pacific region is quite large, and we're going to specifically be going to an area called the Sealands Field, where there are several countries that we will be ministering in and being part of the work that's going on there. We will be moving to Indonesia, and we're looking forward to that. Would you like to give some facts?
There's some really cool things about Indonesia. First of all, Luke, how many islands are in Indonesia?
17,000?
17,000 islands in one country. Isn't that crazy? Only about 500 of those have people living on them, but still 500 islands in one country, that is unbelievable. There are hundreds of languages. There's people with all different skin colors. There are people that have different beliefs about God and different religions. Some of the things that we're really excited about are, what are things that we're excited about? We're really excited about the food. They have really good food there. What's something that we will probably eat with every single meal? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
What is it?
Rice. And they make these really cool dishes at the restaurant sometimes that looks like a volcano. So they get rice and they put it in a funnel and they put it upside down on the plate, and then they pour red sauce over it so it looks like a volcano, because there are lots of volcanoes in Indonesia. How many volcanoes?
I think in that region, in the archipelago island area, I believe it's over 400 or 40 active right now. And so
40 active volcanoes. In fact, the day they asked us to go to Indonesia, there was an eruption on the island that we will probably live on. Isn't that crazy? But no one was hurt, and everyone is still safe. And so God takes care of his people.
And one thing really cool about this region is, Indonesia is the largest area in this region. In this area, there are over 266 million people living out their daily lives in this area. And of that, we are actually going to be considered the old people, because 41% of the population is under the age of 25. Under the age of 25.
So you mean, like, if there's a lot of kids that are listening today, and they're probably close to Luke's age, maybe like somewhere between kindergarten and 5th grade, right? There are a lot of kids their age in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
And what language do they speak? Do you know, Luke?
Indonesian?
Yeah, pretty
Indonesian.
simple, huh?
Bahanese,
And
yes.
so we get to learn how to speak Indonesian.
Indonesian and so many others that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they speak a lot of other languages, but most people speak the Indonesian language, right?
So we're going to have you try something.
Yeah.
We are learning Indonesian, and Jeremy and I say it's our midlife crisis, or one of them. We're going to be learning it.
We should explain that sometimes in a midlife crisis, people think that they have to learn new things because they feel like they're getting old. I hope that none of you out there think that we're old.
Yes, please. But
I do.
Typical, yeah.
from the kids' perspective. But we're going to have you practice this really quick with us.
Yes.
Is the one sentence that we've learned so far is, do you want to try it? You want to teach them it? Say it loud. Do you need some help?
Okay.
So I'll start it off and I'll say, Halo, nama saya Lynette. And that means, hello, my name is Lynette. So I want you to try it. So a few here, and then if you're online with us, go ahead and try it. So, halo, nama saya, and then
And your
say
name.
your name.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
You just greeted us in Indonesian.
We don't know the other piece to that, but we will learn the response
Yeah.
soon. And so there are so many things we are looking forward to learning and experiencing. Our first step will be going to the Philippines before we get to Indonesia.
Yeah.
And we will be doing some cross-cultural studies there.
So the Philippines is another island close to Indonesia, kind of north, and our job there is to learn about our jobs in Indonesia. We're going to learn some more language studies and get prepared to move to Indonesia.
Right, and being able to help our neighbors in that area, and also in our field, I'm going to be helping with finances in that region, and Jeremy is going to be working with.
I'm going to be working with pastors and church leaders and helping them with different resources and helping them study the Bible and learning how to be leaders in their churches.
And one area of ministry that's extremely exciting is about education. Education, obviously, in many different countries is huge, especially when there's poverty and areas of that nature. Education leads them out of the
poverty or out of being poor, because just like in the United States, there are a lot of people in Indonesia and the Philippines and around the world who are poor, and we've learned that if someone is in a really bad situation, that the best way to help them overcome that is to give them hope And what do we have the greatest hope in? Our greatest hope is in Jesus, right? And so our goal, our purpose, our mission is to teach people about Jesus so that they will have hope. And one of the ways that we can teach people about Jesus is through education, by giving them classes or teaching them through school about who Jesus is so that they can take that message back to their family and their friends and to their church to help spread hope. And hope is the number one way to help people come out of a bad situation and come into a better situation. Right?
And so we're excited because we'll be sharing the gospel, the good news with people that we are helping and coming alongside. And we will be able to come alongside and help them grow and mature in their relationships with each other and in their own relationship. And we're excited to be a part of that and minister in new and unique ways in the area there.
Here's what we've learned too, is that God calls all of his people to represent him. So we talked about in the book about how God made each and every one of us, and he made us so that we would know him. And when we know him, then we know that we are also called to represent him. And so Lynette understood that call when she was 10, and I was 15. And so as we continue to seek God and learn more about him, we know that he is sending us. And we read this verse a while back, and this is a verse that really stuck out to us. It's found in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. If you have your Bible, go find it. Isaiah 6, 8. And it says this: "And then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?' And then I said, 'Here I am, send me.'" And I hope that you are listening for God's voice. I hope that you can hear him talking to you. And maybe he'll say or send you to tell people about him in your family. Maybe he'll send you to your school to tell your friends. Maybe he'll send you to your neighborhood or to your church. Maybe someday you'll feel God call you to go around the world. And I think that God calls all of us to go somewhere to tell people about him and to give hope. And we just have to be ready to listen for that call and to go where he sends us. So we are very thankful for the opportunity to be here with you online and with you and with this church. And we're excited about hopefully being able to stay in contact with you. And when we get to the Philippines and Indonesia, we will send pictures and videos about some of the cool things that we are learning there. I'll definitely send you a picture of the food, and I'll show you how, I will explain to you how yummy it is. And, oh, I forgot to say, I'm excited about the food, and I'm excited because in Indonesia, a lot of people don't have cars. They have to drive motorcycles. And so I think that we are going to get a motorcycle. Do you think that all three of us can fit on one motorcycle? Yeah, well, we'll send you a picture, and we'll let you know. But thank you for letting us be here with you. It's been really exciting.
Yes, thank you so much.
You want to say goodbye?
I have something.
Okay,
There's one thing that you would like.
that I will like.
Your drink. Charcoal.
Coffee with charcoal in it. They put charcoal in their coffee, right?
It's supposed to be healthy for you.
Yeah. We'll send a picture of that too.